So of course we always start off with a thank you. As having the honor of being the president of the Pennsylvania Diversity Coalition, we often start our meetings off, which we're going to count this as a meeting as well. It's just that it's a little different if you haven't noticed, because we're in a hotel, we have the mayor president with us, and he's definitely a part of our agenda. One of the things we wanted to do was to give nonprofits in our urban city an opportunity to partake in being exposed at a critical time within our community. And that critical time is as we begin to embark upon the summer months, where there's a lot of idle time for our young people that's getting ready to be in front of them. We want to make sure that those voids, possible voids, are filled. And so several years ago, the mayor and I, we had a conversation about things that we could do differently. And one of those things we thought, not robbery, was to highlight nonprofit organizations embedded in our community that oftentimes are overlooked and under-budgeted, under-supported and sponsored. And so what we came up with was utilizing his address as a way to bring people together to raise funds to feed back into the community. And today what we're able to do is we're able to have the mayor come and present what he would technically term the State of the City address in a way where the funds that are normally brought in and used for various business reasons by others are going to be funneled back into our community and some of our urban nonprofit organizations. So what I'd like to do at this time is to ask those that are going to be receiving contributions to take maybe a minute or two to join me as I call your name and just to talk about what it is that you do in our community. And I know, but I don't think me standing up here announcing everyone will really do it justice, because these are individuals that I've watched over the years utilize their own funds, own resources, personal and professional resources to provide a service to our community. And most important to the most important citizens in our community are young people. And so the only thing that I asked these individuals was one thing: do not have your camps or your activities during the same week of the summer months. And they agreed. So the bottom line was, these individuals are saying, we are willing to showcase how we could work collaboratively on behalf of the community and the kids, our young people in the community, and I'm thankful for them. So they showed selflessness in coming up with a schedule where there's going to be a Danny Lansana Tackling for Success camp, there's going to be a Robert Tate Foundation camp, there's going to be the Chris Handles Franklin camp. Of course, Ms. Addie is a newcomer, but she is doing phenomenal work behind the scenes with the Addie Foundation in terms of helping those that are in need in our community. And so those things coming together culminate into one of our top sponsors here, and also a pillar in our community as it becomes as we speak towards the importance of education. That's Premier Arts and Science Charter School. What we have now is the ability to really engage young people, not only during the day, but then when or if there's idle time, you have the United Methodist Center as represented by Ms. Kyla Harvey. So we in the city have plenty for our young people to do. And when we start to hear about the various issues, and particularly the untimely deaths of young people, and young black males in particular, we need to be intentional about what we do to offset that, we'll say, for lack of better terms.
Hello, my name is Addie Palacci, and I am the founder of Addie, Adverting Diversity Through Dreams, Integrity, and Excellence. And what we do, we assist families of homicide, suicide, domestic violence, drug overdose, bullying, as well as natural disasters. I've been doing this because it was dear to me. It was something that happened to me in all angles, whether it was a friend's family, and even self. And I actually served 7 years in state prison for domestic violence. And when I came home, everything was completely different. You had all of these different entities doing different things, and no one was really being addressed. So I wanted to get in and get to where, how can I give back after taking a life? I can't replace the life that I took, but I can recover some lives that is out on the street that's either bullying or being bullied, or even in the drug or overdose or something like that, to where I knew that I had to make a change. And it started with self first. And when it started with self, I was able to trickle it down to my children, who was part of the problem as well. And when they seen that mom was serious, they turned their life around as well. I started connecting with different people, learning different things, and saying to where it can be done. When sometimes we think that it can't be done because of the slow process, we think that it's a slow process. It's actually moving even when we don't see it. And all the ones that I seen on a paper to be nominated and honored here today, I thank y'all because y'all was part of my process to be able to be here today. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kyla Harvey. I'm the Executive Director at the Neighborhood Center of the United Methodist Church. So we provide a slew of social service programming for the Harrisburg community. Our major programming is childcare. So we provide not just childcare, we provide quality childcare, we provide affordable childcare. We're heavily funded by the church, so we are able to not be competitive and charge our families a reasonable rate and offer scholarships to offset funding. In addition to our child care, we work with the Harrisburg School District's Young Mothers Together program. We go into the schools and we work one-on-one with the young moms. We do life skills, we do goal setting, we take them out on appointments, we do case management. We have a diaper bank, formula bank, we provide clothing, and we have summer enrichment. Also, this year we're starting a new program. It's called Ladies in Training. It'll be a week-long camp for middle school girls. We're serving 15 middle school girls. They will focus on self-esteem, building our girls up so that when they approach ninth grade, they're ready, they feel confident. So the program will be a week long, and then throughout the year we'll hold monthly sessions. We really try to tailor our programs to be impactful. So giving kids experiences that they may not get at home or that may not be affordable. Trying to take them out of the Harrisburg city and expose them to other opportunities, other communities. But we really focus on education, mentorship, and being a resource and a staple to the Harrisburg community.
Good afternoon. My name is Darlene Smith. I'm the Chief Administrative Officer at Premier Arts and Science Charter School. Premier is an elementary charter school that is located on 17th and State Street in Harrisburg, and we serve students from kindergarten through 5th grade. I am one of the founders of the charter school along with Mr. Singleton, and this is one of our great teachers, Miss Carita Smith at the charter school, and Mr. A.C. Curtis is one of the teaching assistants there. We have our school counselor, Mr. Cordell Faltz, and we have a board member, Miss Pamela Spencer, and the chairman of our board, Mr. Terrace Jackson, are here as well. The mission of Premier Arts and Science Charter School is to provide access to a world-class education for every student without exception. And we use a back-to-basics approach to learning, and we teach science, we teach the arts, English, math, and all of the subjects that they need to succeed. We started the charter school because initially it was started with Premier Learning Center, and which is a child care center. And at the child care center, we were teaching 4- and 5-year-olds how to read, write, add, subtract. They were reciting poetry. They were memorizing long excerpts, and the parents were really excited about what they were doing. And so they wanted an alternative to the public school system. And they were also learning different languages. We did French and Spanish, Swahili, German, and Japanese. So that was a concept that we started with for Premier Arts and Science Charter School. And right now, we're in our 5th year, and we're up for renewal, so we're praying that we will succeed in obtaining our renewal, and we would ask for all of your support in, putting our name out there and support us in continuing to get our children to be world-class citizens. Thank you.
How everybody doing? All right. My name is Robert Tate from the surrounding area. Live in Harrisburg. I played in the National Football League for 10 years with the Arizona Cardinals, Baltimore Ravens, and Minnesota Vikings. But I had struggles growing up in high school where I was battling with dyslexia. A lot of people don't know what dyslexia is. A lot of teachers couldn't get to the students to see how to curve or how to act on them. So now what I did, I wrote a book. I wrote a book about my struggles, playing in the league, meeting a lot of great people. Now I'm giving back. I go travel. I speak in prisons. I speak in schools, churches, whatsoever be. But my main point is giving back for dyslexia and doing foundations where I could go on a list of things. What Carl said, a lot of times I do things on my own. I get good sponsorships, but I also just spend my own money and do things because it's just the way I am. I do golf tournaments. I help with a 5K run and walk. I feed the homeless. We do a coat drive here in Harrisburg every year. I've been doing this stuff for 15 years. A lot of people didn't know what I've been doing because I've never been the one to tell people what I do. I just go out there and do it because we do it from the heart. We don't do it from just trying to reach out to people and do it. I do it from the heart, and if something needs to get done, I just always feel my mom taught me that I'm gonna get it done. But coming up here today and appreciating everything and all the people all the foundations and all the good things that we do to help, it's about giving back. And that's what I do. My name is Robert. It's Robert Tate Foundation for Dyslexia. I'm on my 2nd book, Life After Football, meeting different people. And last but not least, giving these kids in the inner city an opportunity to go to football games, basketball game, baseball game. Some of these kids never made it out of here. I take my own car, my own bus I take kids to the Eagles game, take them to the Baltimore Ravens game. I'm back in town for 2 weeks. I'm taking 5 kids right now to the Orioles game. But it's not about that. It's about giving back, helping people. So that's what the money goes toward, giving back and helping people. So I want to say thank y'all and appreciate everything.
Hello, my name is Chris Handles Franklin. I'm the president of the Chris Handles Franklin Foundation. I'm also currently in my 11th year with the world famous Harlem Globetrotters. I travel and tour all over the world. I've actually been on tour since December. I just got back yesterday. I flew back early from tour, a week early from tour because of a untimely death of a close family member. But ironically, me being able to fly back early allowed me to be here today. So I'm honored to be here today. I just got off of, just came back from, we were in Europe the last 3 months, 17 countries, 86 games. So it's been a lot of traveling and touring. I'm still a little jet lagged, but honored to be here with you today. My foundation has been active for about 3 years. But I've had a basketball camp for kids called the Ultimate Spin Basketball Camp for 15 years now. In my camp, being from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, I knew I wanted to be a Harlem Globetrotter since I was 6 years old. It was my lifelong dream. So how did I go from that little kid dribbling a basketball in Hall Manor projects to living my life's dream? Then bringing that to fruition, how did I go from that little kid to traveling to 83 countries around the world and even playing basketball at the White House with former President Barack Obama? it was important for me to come back and have a basketball camp that not only teaches kids basketball, but life skills. So when they're not on the court, they have to go to classrooms, and we teach them things about character education, how to be an adult, money management, all kinds of things. And we have different community leaders. A lot of the community leaders that are here have speaking to the kids in my camp. So I'm honored to do that camp and come back and do that camp every single year. But also honored to work with so many amazing and esteemed people in the community. I had an opportunity to work with our esteemed mayor to do 2 great playgrounds in the city. We redid 4th and Emerald Park. We redid Reservoir Park and dedicated them to community leaders that dedicated their lives to our youth. And for me, it was disheartening coming back to Harrisburg and seeing kids, first seeing kids that were just as talented, if not more talented than me, not be able to use the talent that they've been given. But also to see our playgrounds empty, people playing video games. I wanted to get kids back active. So once we did these beautiful parks, put up glass backboards, resurfaced, the city helped put in LED lights. We spent $20,000 on a couple of parks, each park, and made these parks beautiful. And every single day, people are playing at those parks. I'm currently this summer working on another park. With Mona over here, who's been amazing. But I love working with people in the community, and hopefully we can continue to do it. I also have a turkey giveaway where we gave away hundreds of not only turkeys but meals to needy families, working with Jamie Harvey at the YMCA, and it was just an amazing event, amazing partnership. So I'm just so honored to be able to work with everyone in the community. Hope we can continue to work together to make our community better and make our city better. So also Ms. Janet Ham is from my foundation. She's here in the black dress. And I've had the opportunity to work with Mr. Carter and Carl Singleton, Mr. Homer Floyd, who gave me my very first, coming out of college, who gave me my very first internship working with the Human Relations Commission. So I'm honored to work with everyone here. Thanks for having me, and hope to connect with you.
So I'm tasked with grace as well, singing grace, that is. But before I do, let me tell you a story, and I know this comes as a shock to a lot of you, because I'm shy and reserved, and now I've spoken. But I'm gonna tell you about, it's funny, but that's true. So Robert Tate was my high school running back, and I always tell this story. But 2 things, you think about LeBron James last night and carrying the team. Well, he's been carrying me since we were about 10 years old. We would play at the Camp Curtin YMCA, and we would win like 28-27, and he would have 27 points. But I'll never forget, and this was a coachable moment, and hopefully it's about, and we're going to circle back around talking about kids and community and young people and growing. I'll never forget being in the huddle over at Cedar Cliff, and Coach Jimmy Jones called a run play. And, I was a tight end. I thought I should have the ball all the time. And we were in there arguing. I was telling them how we're going to change the play and we're going to do something different, do this. And I'm talking to Jay Hall and I'm telling him all these things. And Pint, we call him, he never says anything. And mind you, we're on the 7-yard line, and we're going to do a run play before halftime. And I'm thinking that we could do something differently. And so I was a little expressive in the huddle. And Robert pulls his mouthpiece out, and he goes, "Come on, y'all. Let's just hold our blocks and see what we can get out of it." 93-yard touchdown. So he continued to carry us, is my point. But more importantly, we never knew about the challenges that one another were going through in that huddle, but all we did know was that we had each other. And that's what I'm saying about community. You may not know the next person, individual, he, she, they, them, whomever, their challenges, their issues, or troubles, but we have to solve this thing together in a unified manner, and it has to be, as the coalition says, intentional. It has to be collaborative impact and be intentional. So with that, I'll just say, Lord, bless this food we're about to receive for the nourishment of our bodies and the strengthening of our souls. We ask you to continue to bless our friends and family and keep them safe. And we thank you for this opportunity of friendship and fellowship. Amen.
Hello, everyone. I want to thank the Crown Plaza for providing such wonderful food. It's really delicious. Yes. I hope everyone will go back and have more. There's plenty of food, and relax and enjoy the talk. We're going to break some news this morning, and also we've got some images that we're going to be part of the PowerPoint, which no one has seen before. So we will be unveiling them here for you today. So greetings, and thank you for coming out to hear the state of our city in 2018. This year, as you know, we're pleased to be partnering with key nonprofits that are doing great work in Harrisburg to hold this State of the City address today. And we've titled the address, "The Roles Education, Economic Development, and Diversity Play in the Resurgence of Harrisburg." Now, I think we all know that Harrisburg is indeed in the midst of a resurgence. In the past 5 years since I first took office, we have transformed Harrisburg from a symbol of bankruptcy and corruption to a new model of resiliency and sound governance. We've gone from fiscal turmoil to fiscal stability, and we've gone from political smokescreens to accountability and transparency. And all of this means that Harrisburg has become a more inviting place for businesses to open and relocate, and we're now a more inviting place for people to call home. And today I can tell you with both enthusiasm and confidence that our hard work is paying off. Harrisburg again is growing, and we are making serious strides in addressing the needs of all of our residents. In my inaugural address at the beginning of the year, I put it this way: the worst is over, and the best is yet to come. And I really do believe Harrisburg has weathered the recent economic and political storms and has emerged a stronger, more unified city. The best is truly yet to come. So today I want to share with you some of the undeniable good news that has our city so excited about its future. Since I took office in 2014, our efforts have focused in key areas: eradicating blight in our neighborhoods to make Harrisburg a more livable city, attracting new businesses and investment into our city, improving public safety, creating new jobs, and importantly, ensuring women and minority-owned businesses are welcome and included in all of our city projects and operations. Now, of course, quality schools are crucial to any city's long-term vitality and growth. And our administration is committed to being a strong supporter of our schools and the nurturing of our youth. We are now working with the elected school board and the State Department of Education to find a new, strong recovery officer who will ensure the future success of our district. And we are actively seeking opportunities to collaborate with our school district, such as with the proposed new composting facility. But while our administration can't design curricula or hire teachers or renovate schools, what we can do is we can create safe, attractive places for our children to learn through play. And that's why refurbishing our parks and our playgrounds have been among our very highest priorities. In cooperation with Capital Region Water, we are committing hundreds of thousands of dollars to improving each and every playground throughout our city. So the playgrounds at Norwood and Holley, look on the screen here briefly and you'll see some incredible images. Cloverly Heights, Penn and Saferd, and Royal Terrace are right now getting new basketball courts and playground equipment, as well as other upgrades to make them ADA compliant and greener and safer. And all of this work should be completed by this September at a cost of almost $1.5 million. Can't wait to inaugurate those refurbished playgrounds. Now, another project to renovate the 4th and Dauphin Playground will begin this fall and be completed in 2019. And we want to thank the organizations that have partnered with the city to help us with these vitally needed renovations. And we want to thank the McLean Associates, Capital Region Water, Impact Harrisburg, as well as the state's Department of Conservation and Natural Resources for providing the funding and resources for the projects. And of course, we want to thank our own Parks and Rec crew for their dedicated service to the city. Bringing new life to our playgrounds has truly been a team effort and has been the focus of my administration from the very start. When we first turned our attention to the playground at 4th and Emerald back in 2014, we had the support, as you have already heard, of Chris Handel's Franklin's Foundation, as well as Kaboom, the Pennsylvania Municipal League, and the Harrisburg Parks Foundation has also been a strong supporter, and they helped to renovate a pavilion at that same playground at 4th and Emerald, thanks to a grant from PPO. You can see it there in the image. And this year, the Harrisburg Parks Foundation restored the wellspring of our future fountain in Reservoir Park. You'll have to go check that out. And they are now looking to build a new bandshell structure at Italian Lake as a gift to the city. They've raised the funds privately, and they will be gifting this new structure at Italian Lake. Now, we owe a special debt of gratitude to Chris Franklin, who has led recent efforts to rededicate not one but 2 courts, including, most recently, the basketball court in Reservoir Park. You can see it there in honor of Des Mangus, in gratitude for his decades of community service. And Reservoir Park itself has benefited from the renovation of the bandshell and is about to benefit from even more improvements under a master plan that will bring new lighting and more parking and new restrooms and playgrounds and handball courts and other upgrades to the 87 acres in the heart of our city. That Reservoir Park master plan is the result of almost a year of public meetings and focus groups, surveys and research, and we believe it will restore the park's unparalleled charm and beauty. And it will be funded, by the way, due to a major new agreement with the National Civil War Museum to purchase the artifacts and put that money back into the park. Harrisburg City Council members also gave the go-ahead just last year to begin phase 1 of this restoration when they authorized construction of a new Chutes and Ladders playground that I know is going to bring hours of delight for our city's children. That'll be next up on the docket when we finish these projects this fall. And as another example, in just a few days, the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority is going to celebrate its 66th year of service to the Harrisburg community by adopting yet another park in Harrisburg, which will now make it 4 parks that they've adopted in the past few years. This is the kind of community commitment that is behind Harrisburg's resurgence. And one of my main missions today is to thank many of the people in this room, the leaders of the nonprofits and the volunteers who continually join with the city to help us ensure Harrisburg's revival as a capital and a place for people to call home. You have so much to be proud of in your work to save our city. I want to thank you all for what you've done. And specifically, I want to thank several of the people in the organizations that are here today. In addition to Chris Franklin, you've already met them. Let me again thank Addie Palacci for the Addie's Foundation, Danny Lansana for the Tackling Success Foundation, Lawrence Ham for the Ham Camp Incorporated, Darlene Smith and her whole crew for the Premier Arts and Science Charter School, Robert Tate for the Robert Tate Foundation, Kyla Harvey for all of her good work at the Neighborhood Center at the United Methodist Church, and a special thank you to Carl Singleton and all those with the PA Diversity Coalition for organizing and putting this event together today. Thank you. Thank you all. Thanks to the hard work that you do day in and day out, and the dedication of too many people and organizations to name here today, we are making serious strides in tackling the long-neglected issues that have prevented Harrisburg from being the city that so many want it to be. Improving the quality of life for our residents, young and old, really is the central focus of my administration. But upon taking office, we quickly realized the city was woefully understaffed to provide the level of service that city residents expected, especially in keeping our parks and our streets clean and well-maintained. In fact, did you know our Public Works Department was threatened to be turned over to a private company when I took office? And instead, we decided to invest in our Public Works crews, and today, under the extraordinary leadership of Director Aaron Johnson and Deputy Director David West, we've strengthened the whole department, adding a new Parks Maintenance Director, an arborist, all sorts of new Parks Maintenance workers, and most recently, 3 park rangers. We're back up with our park ranger program. And that's just in the last several years. And thanks to these efforts and your help, Harrisburg is now cleaner and more beautiful and a more inviting city. When I first took office, we were barely able to scrape together enough people to help organize the annual Capona and 4th of July festivals. The whole city staff was wrangling balloons for our first parade. But now we have a special unit dedicated to organizing and promoting our city events in collaboration with and funded by Visit Hershey Harrisburg. And instead of using the city's tax dollars to pay for these very worthy family and cultural events, we now have corporate and community sponsors. I want to thank a few, specifically PHFA and Brian Hudson, and D&H Distributing, celebrating 100 years as an employer in this city, who are giving generously right now to make our 4th of July festivities and fireworks first class. And I hope everyone will come out. It's on a Wednesday, 4th of July, Riverfront Park, for the Taste of Independence Food Truck Festival. And after the fireworks, we're even doing something new this year. We're going to have an after fireworks movie under the stars in Riverfront Park. So it should be something to really look forward to. This year, as many of you know, we also added a new festival. We added a Winter Ice and Fire Festival downtown with free ice skating. And here's our first breaking news. We are going to be soon announcing more details about a new event that is happening this summer. It's going to be called the Weekender Festival. It'll be sponsored by the Harrisburg Housing Authority and other organizations. It'll take place in Reservoir Park at the end of the summer. So to get the word out about all of these Harrisburg happenings, we have Saida Taiba, who I'd like to acknowledge over there, who has prepared the PowerPoint. She's our new communications assistant, who not only is a master at social media and graphics, but she has been spearheading the city's new monthly newsletter. And if you haven't signed up for it, I would like to encourage you to. You should. And you can find out all the types of information on events and projects that are being spotlighted in this newsletter each month. So we've come a long way in a little more than 4 years, and thanks to your support and that of the people and organizations too numerous to name, there are organizations that are doing amazing things, such as the United Way of the Capital Region, which each year sponsors a day of caring to help engage our young people in cleaning up the treasures of our city. We're making serious strides in tackling the long-neglected issues that have prevented Harrisburg from being the jewel of our Commonwealth. These serious issues are nowhere more evident than in our aging infrastructure. From the rows of dilapidated houses in too many of our neighborhoods, to the sorrowful state of some of our streets and the sinkholes that pose a significant danger to dozens of our residents. Since I took office in 2014, our administration has set out to tackle the city's most distressing problems one by one. First, we balanced the budget, and then we moved to reduce crime and beautify our city. We installed new LED lighting throughout Harrisburg. We started demolishing unsafe buildings, filling potholes on long-neglected streets. We took up the challenge of a major crisis and rescued dozens of our residents from sinkholes along South 14th Street. And you may recall early in my administration, we created a land bank and a vacant property review board to allow the city to claim blighted properties and to make them available to responsible developers. And we began an aggressive program to tear down dilapidated and abandoned buildings that were unsightly and unsafe. We reformed the tax sale process. We created a housing court to more effectively deal with absentee landlords and abandoned houses. We took these steps to ensure that as our downtown area recovers, we didn't neglect the hard work that was needed to make all of our neighborhoods safer and more attractive for our residents. And we're also making efforts to better connect our neighborhoods and to make it easier for our residents to access jobs and educational opportunities and entertainment. We're improving the connectivity between uptown and our downtown area and are focused on expanding the development that is beginning near the site of the new federal courthouse and the archives. I want to point out this slide because this is one of the slides that has never before been seen, and it shows you a little bit of the planned redoing of the area of 7th Street near FIA for next year, and the creation of the first traffic circle in the city of Harrisburg, which would be at the corner of 7th and Riley, all in advance of the courthouse and all as part of an effort to ensure proper and safe transportation of vehicles in and out of the city. There's also a sheltered bike lane and some other incredible improvements. Right now, that's where you have the parking in the middle of the street that can be very dangerous. We want to spread the resurgence from downtown all the way out to Camp Curtin. And we are also very, very pleased to announce that we're looking at constructing a new bridge over Division Street that would better connect the Hack campus in Wildwood to our city. And here's another image that no one has seen before. This is an image of the design for the proposed bridge. And as you see, it begins right there at the Uptown Plaza, which is currently a dead-end cul-de-sac right after D&H Distributing, goes over the tracks and connects quite nicely with the new Staybridge Suites and would allow for a new gateway in and out of the city and better connect us to Hack and to Wildwood Park. Now, we weren't successful in our first attempt to secure millions in federal funding to help pay for this bridge earlier this year, but we plan to try again. There'll be a new round of grants opening again in October, and we believe that with a new and improved proposal, we will be able to show the incredible benefits that will result from better connecting our city in this way. But that's not all. I also have other great news that we can break this morning. We just learned, just in the past 2 days, that the governor, Governor Wolf, who's been very good to the city, has approved our application for $2 million under the Redevelopment Assistance Capital Program, sometimes known as RCAP, to begin the process of paying for the dechannelization of Paxton Creek. And there you have an image of what the creek might become. And this will allow us to reclaim hundreds of acres that are currently in the floodplain, allowing their development for the first time along that industrial corridor along Cameron Street to be redeveloped into new housing or commercial uses. The Paxton Creek project, which is truly transformative, will allow us to expand the resurgence that is sweeping over downtown, to penetrate more of our city, benefit more of our residents, and improve the quality of life for everyone. But all of these games are premised upon our continued progress being made in the area of public safety. And first, on that note, I want to thank our firefighters who weren't able to be here today, but are so dedicated, so courageous. This has been a very, very tough year for our fire heroes. They've suffered injuries, they've mourned the loss of lives, but they remain as ever vigilant and strong in the defense of property and human lives here in Harrisburg. And I'm happy to report that in 2018, Harrisburg is a safer city, and our crime rate has dropped by every major measurable statistic, despite our inability to increase our overall numbers of police officers. And for this incredible success, statistically speaking, in fighting crime, we really must thank Police Commissioner Thomas Carter, who has just left, but was here a moment ago, Deputy Chief Derek Moody, and Captain Gabe Olivera. That's our command staff team, and they're doing a wonderful, wonderful job. They've strengthened the police bureau. They've hired new and capable officers. We were just talking about the new class, which passed its physical training tests under the commissioner's oversight just yesterday. And they're creating opportunities for these new officers to really get to know the people and the communities they serve. We recently hired Blake Lynch, who is here over at our table, to join with Officer Josh Hammer, who's there, to create the core of our strong community policing team. And they are out every day in our neighborhoods, meeting with residents, getting to know our children, so they can mentor and serve as role models of a caring and committed police force. And what's most important, we want to put police closer to the people where they are needed most. And we're looking at relocating police headquarters from downtown at the MLK Government Center to a new location in Uptown Harrisburg. The idea is to sell the public safety building and use the proceeds to invest in a new facility that would help reduce response times, make police operations more connected to the neighborhoods they serve. And to start this overall process of relocation, this year we're investing more than $1 million to construct a new police substation in Allison Hill. There is the rendering. This new thinking in our public safety operations is the reason we have continued to see a reduction in crime every year since I took office. Crime is down in most of the serious categories of murder, assault, robbery, burglary. And by any calculation, these numbers represent real progress in our efforts to make Harrisburg a safer place for families, for our elderly, and for the young adults eager for city life. But there is one area that the statistics reveal to be a truly serious problem, and that is the number of motor vehicle accidents. Those have increased in Harrisburg by 25% in the past year, and it's continuing an upward trend that also represents pedestrian injuries and fatalities. So, City Engineer Wayne Martin has begun spearheading a new project to address this tragic issue. The project is called Vision Zero, and it aims to eliminate traffic fatalities and serious accidents in our city. This will be an issue that requires a community effort. We already have started gathering the data we need to determine where are the most dangerous streets and crossings, and we're making sure to include you in our coming up with solutions to the problems of increasing traffic accidents on our street. The State Street corridor, for one, is of special concern, and we just launched an emergency response to the increasing number of pedestrians struck simply trying to cross that street. Vision Zero will begin at State Street, but it will be a multi-year project that will include the entire city. We're taking a scientific approach to gathering the data, including speaking with residents in areas where there have been serious traffic accidents. We just had a pop-up workshop yesterday on State Street, speaking to residents. And we're going to hold public meetings to discuss the findings and to propose solutions. Above all, we are committed to the Vision Zero goal of making our streets safer for all of our residents, but especially for our children and our elderly. Among the possible changes will be better lighting on State Street, a possible reduction in the number of travel lanes, installation of bump outs at intersections, similar to the types of improvements that you're going to be seeing on 3rd Street, where work is now underway. The 3rd Street repaving project began quite recently, and it includes a redesign of curbsides and green infrastructures. We envision at its core a more walkable, a more bikeable, a more pedestrian-friendly city. A city more connected to the beautiful green spaces and our wonderful natural environment. And that's why we're looking to connect the Greenbelt, which now encircles the city, to the very heart of Harrisburg. And we're embarking on the plan to have the Greenbelt go through the city from Hack's campus right along the new Paxton Creek master plan, literally dissecting the city and better connecting our urban environment to our natural environment. And we're hoping to encourage less dependence on cars by improving public transportation. You know, Capital Area Transit has partnered with the city and businesses on the West Shore to better connect our city residents to jobs. As an example, last year we announced a new CAT bus route that would connect Harrisburg residents to the Chewy.com fulfillment center in Mechanicsburg. You know, almost 600 city residents work at Chewy alone, which is eager to hire more residents at attractive warehouse wages. CAT also announced just last month that it would be expanding its summer bus services to Hershey to help connect our youth who are seeking employment there to jobs at the entertainment park and other facilities, and that's just gone into effect. Yes, there is a rebirth in Harrisburg, and we are clearly focused on serving our people and in making our city a better place to live, work, and to play. It's not hard to feel a new optimism enveloping Harrisburg that is attracting businesses and new residents. And I'm happy to report we can see economic revitalization throughout the entire city, from the opening of new restaurants and shops and businesses in Midtown to the revitalization now underway in MulDer Square. And if you haven't been across the Mulberry Street Bridge lately, it is transformative. We are hard at work at the MulDer Square project, which we expect will stimulate the rehabilitation of other sections of Allison Hill, where too many people are living at and below the poverty line in substandard housing currently. Our new MulDer Square project is an example of the kind of development that we hope will ignite increased homeownership and investment in our neighborhoods, reaching into blighted areas that have suffered from years of neglect. Already we've replaced dilapidated, dangerous buildings and empty lots, and under construction are 46 new affordable units where rents can be as low as $300 a month with parking. Now, the rents depend upon income level and ability to pay, but it's an incredible bargain for families seeking new, beautiful housing close to the city center that is also affordable. The idea for the MulDer Square project began during my first term in office after the Commonwealth invested millions to repair the Mulberry Street Bridge that connects Allison Hill to the downtown, and particularly to the train and bus stations. And again, we need to give thanks to Governor Wolf for this first commitment of RCAP funding in support of Harrisburg's recovery. To continue the momentum that started with the bridge repair, the city decided to invest millions of dollars to transform the area around Mulberry and Derry Streets. We did this in full expectation that it would stimulate a revitalization of the entire neighborhood. But MulDer Square could not happen without community partners such as Tri-County Housing, which helped to rehabilitate the first home that was sold in this area this year. When that home sold, and you've got some images there, seeing a young single mother move into a newly renovated home was a truly moving and memorable day for me and for many of those at the city who helped make this miracle possible. This young woman had been paying an astronomical rent for a house in need of significant repairs, and now, for a brand new home, she's only paying about $500 a month. And she's paying virtually no real estate taxes because of the city's very successful 10-year, up to 100% full tax abatement plan that City Council enacted in my first term. Now, that renovated house she purchased at $80,000, it's increased the value of the properties around her, it's benefiting everyone in the neighborhood, it's spurring additional investment, and this is just the effect that we're seeking as we renovate properties to encourage developers to build new, affordable housing throughout the city, in tax-free zones, ensuring their profit margins while improving the city's inventory of quality dwellings. We'll continue to work with Tri-County and other partners as it takes on new projects in MulDer Square, and we hope to see others take advantage of the funding we have available through programs such as the Federal Community Development Block Grants. And those will be under consideration by council here coming up, and we have a variety of money being proposed for housing in MulDer Square. Before MulDer Square is completed, the city and its partners are planning already to spend more than $22 million to renovate buildings, construct dozens of single-family homes, create new and attractive streetscapes, improve the area's infrastructure. And this is only going to be the beginning of the transformation of Allison Hill, a process that will take years, if not decades, but one that is well underway. Our efforts to develop more affordable housing and improve our neighborhoods does not stop there in MulDer Square. In fact, Habitat for Humanity just announced it will be bringing 160 youth to Harrisburg this month to help build at least 3 homes from scratch right on Swatara Street near 16th Street in just 7 days. These young people are actually coming from all over the country, and they plan to get the work done in 5 days and then spend the extra day enjoying Harrisburg. Habitat for Humanity is partnering with Tri-County on the building project, and volunteers are going to offer their services to neighborhood groups to lead the cleanup and beautification projects. Now, this is a great example of how volunteers and nonprofits can help transform blight into beauty and support all of our efforts to provide safe, affordable houses for our residents. And we want to support your efforts, by the way. Using CDBG funds, we're looking to provide resources for nonprofits, such as the nonprofits in this room that are providing vital public services to our residents. And we encourage you to get information about our CDBG grant program and apply to the city for funds to help us continue the revitalization in all of our neighborhoods. Businesses continue to open in Harrisburg. Since 2015, more than 1,000 new workers have taken jobs in companies in our city. And these are just some of the signs that Harrisburg is growing again. You know, we're seeing increased revenue from the earned income tax and from the local services tax. But we're not only growing in terms of new workers and new businesses, our population is growing. And this is a major historical development. In the next census, the 2020 census, we expect to show Harrisburg's population has begun to increase for the first time in 70 years. For the first time since 1950. And that is indeed something to celebrate. As we see Harrisburg start to prosper, we are mindful of our responsibility to make sure everyone has a seat at the table. And we are focused on ensuring that women and minority-owned businesses claim their fair share of Harrisburg's march towards prosperity. After a disappointing response in the 3rd Street project, where we attracted very few bids from WB&B companies, we have learned some valuable lessons and have started a much more aggressive outreach. Because of these new efforts, we're seeing increases in the number of WB&B businesses winning contracts right now in major projects in the city, including in construction of the police substation in Allison Hill and in our lead abatement program. In fact, WB&B companies are now claiming more than 90% of the contracts to construct the new Allison Hill police substation, which is now underway and will be completed this year. And in our lead abatement program, we have secured 100% WB&B participation to help improve the city's affordable housing and remove the lead paint hazards that are so dangerous to our city's children. Through the HUD-funded program, we are providing work for dozens of contractors, and we are helping to improve the lives of people throughout the city. In addition to ensuring WB&B participation in these existing programs, we are taking steps to prepare more WB&B companies to take advantage of the tremendous opportunities emerging in the city's resurgence. Almost $1 billion in new construction projects are already planned and underway for this city over the next decade. And as we meet here today, other city officials are in a workshop at the National Civil War Museum, where I came from this morning, specifically designed to help women and minority and disadvantaged businesses with networking and certification and learning more about how to win contracts for projects that are going to happen in Harrisburg. This is the second such workshop we've held in the past few months to help educate and connect business owners to opportunities within the city. So PennDOT officials are now at the event, explaining how to get certified for government contracts. The Pennsylvania Department of General Services is there at the event, providing information about the work needed for the new Archives building project on 6th Street. Mascaro Construction Company, who's the general contractor for the federal courthouse, they're there to discuss opportunities in that project. The GEM Group is on hand to provide information about construction projects in Harrisburg. Harrisburg University representatives are providing details of their future office tower that will transform the downtown. We've got local contractors such as Tarek Castile, who I think has left because he is literally on at 1 o'clock. So he's speaking right now about TLC construction and renovation, offering his enormous expertise and guidance about working right here in Harrisburg. We want to do all that we can to provide the information and resources WB&B businesses need to fairly compete and take advantage of our city's resurgence. In addition, the city's engaged in several outreach efforts to get the word out and to offer support for our small businesses. Charlie White, who's at that workshop at the Civil War Museum, is our new Director of Business Development and is leading our efforts. He is working closely with Shashawn Dial, who is our new Director of Social Equity for the city. And I want to introduce you all to Mark Woolley, who's sitting over there at that table, who's the city's new business administrator. That team is working right now to closely examine our policies and procedures to make sure that they facilitate and not impede inclusivity in our government operations. And they're doing a great job. Friends, all of this gives you an idea of the state of our city in 2018 and the great strides we're making in pulling our city back from the brink of disaster and despair. And yes, it's clear education, economic development, and embracing our diversity as a community are vital to Harrisburg's continued revitalization and resurgence. Each of you has his or her own vital role to play in Harrisburg's renaissance. You must remain engaged and offer your wise guidance and counsel as we push forward in these ambitious projects to secure our future. You must make your voices heard to improve educational opportunities in our schools, because we all know that a quality education is the surest ticket to a quality life. And we have no time to waste in equipping our children for the competitive demands of the 21st century. Your hard work in supporting our efforts over the past years have already helped us turn Harrisburg around. And now your hard work will be crucial in ensuring the state of our city remains inclusive, culturally vibrant, and economically strong. Thank you all for coming out this morning and letting me share the good news about the city of Harrisburg.